Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan, coming to you. TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, located right over there by Parkview Baptist, right off Airline Highway. They are on Jefferson Highway. Go check them out. I am at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Go to lasportshall.com. We'll tell you more next week about it. But May 14th, mark your calendar. That's a Tuesday at Oak Wing Golf Course in Alexandria. We haven't been there since 2018, Tommy. But we're going to be back there for the Spring Celebrity Golf Classic. You don't want to miss it. That's going to be awesome. And, of course, LeBear's Casino is our presenting sponsor, where I will be there on Friday. We've got a 1 to 3 press conference, weigh-in for a big MMA fight that's taking place this Saturday at the Texas Club, the Titan Combat Championships, promoted and put on by our good friend Casey McKenzie, Mr. Fight Promoter. You didn't know, Tommy, all your friends were going to get into the fight business. You know,
I know, it's like amazing.
Casey's going into MMA. He's Mr. MMA promoter. I'm the head of the Boxing and Wrestling Commission, which we're now going to be going by the Louisiana Athletic Commission. We're changing that, going by that name. But anyway, Friday at 1 o'clock, if you want to come on out to the LeBear's Casino at the sports book, you can watch the weigh-in for. They're going to have 10, 11 fights this Saturday over at the Texas Club. There's going to be a couple of professional fighters are going to be there. I think a UFC guy is also going to be there at the press conference on Friday. The food, drink, all that kind of stuff. So come on out, check it out this Friday over at LeBear's in the sports book.
Ronnie, little did I know what the McKenzie Moranto match would lead to.
Unbelievable.
Huh?
Right.
Just think about that. Was that a little over a year ago? We were down there at Lamar Dixon, and look what's happened to you and Casey now. Like I hardly know you guys.
January 13th, the Friday night fights. That was the of 2023. That was the beginning of it all. And we hope to have Friday night fights too at some point this year. Working on it. We got to see. It's amazing how many people are all about doing a celebrity boxing match, 3-round celebrity boxing match when they're drinking. You know, they're all in. Yeah, I'll fight them. And then by the time they think about it a few days later, run it by their wife or their husband or whatever, because we've had to talk to a couple women, things change. So we're working on it. But the topics today we want to get to is, of course, Ohtani had his press conference on Monday after our show. We want to get to a reaction of that, the big global story that's going on in Major League Baseball. And of course, LSU baseball last night, they get back in the win column. They take care of your Southeastern Lions 8-4. The Rougarou jacket was looking good on TV behind Skip and Woodward. And so we'll have some reaction to that. By the way, a Lions team that's knocked off Cal State Fullerton, a Lions team that's beaten Tulane, a Lions team that's beaten East Carolina, and of course should have beaten LSU. It's their own fault they didn't beat LSU when they had a 3-1 lead with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the ninth a few weeks ago. But Tigers get back in the winning side. We'll have some reaction to that. LSU's women took care of business, of course, on Sunday against MTSU. Now they play UCLA. The 3 seed taking on the 2 seed at a neutral court. Can't be any more neutral than LSU playing UCLA in Albany, New York. I mean, that is about as neutral as it gets. But that will be taking place Saturday at noon. So Sports Shorts Radio, listen to us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. And then right when the show ends, then you can watch or listen to the LSU women's basketball game. But let's start with Ohtani. That's the big news in sports, TK. Take us through what happened on Monday and your reaction to what he said.
Ohtani read a prepared statement, which was written by lawyers and marketing people or whatever, basically denying everything. Said he was duped. He said his words were that the interpreters stole the money from him. Okay, so he wouldn't take any questions. They told everybody before it started there'll be no questions, which was not fair. Because one question would be, okay, are you going to have this guy arrested? Or are you going to press charges? Ronnie, I'm pretty sure that if I stole $4.5 million out of the Rougarou account, you'd have me arrested. Okay, so I don't think a lot of people believe Ohtani. The statement, I could have wrote it before he read it because it was like, I didn't do this. I was duped. I had no idea. it was everything he had to say. Now Major League Baseball's got a problem. Why they're investigating? Why won't they suspend him while they're investigating, like they did Trevor Bauer, who was found innocent or charges dropped, whatever, and everybody else gets suspended until the investigation's over. But they're not going to do this with Ohtani because he's the marquee name. He moves the needle. He's the Tiger Woods. Was to golf he is to baseball right now. He moves the needle, and it's money, money, money. I don't think a lot of people are buying Ohtani's story because he won't. There's too many unanswered things. I mean, Ronnie, the bank will call you if there's 9 transfers of $500,000 out of your account. If you or I transferred 10 grand today, the bank would be like, "Okay, are you sure this is you? We're going to hold this for a minute." The story's not adding up. Do I think he bet on baseball? I don't know the answer to that. Do I think he knew what was going on? Yes, although he denied it in the press conference. It didn't look good. It didn't sound good. And there are a long list of unanswered questions. And I think Major League Baseball, they're backed in a corner here. They should suspend him until the investigation's concluded. And if he's found to have never bet on baseball, then, reinstate him.
They'll never do that, Tommy. They'll never do that. He's too much the face of the sport. They're going to give him the benefit of the doubt until a smoking gun comes out and he's arrested or something like that, or there's a 60 Minutes report with the smoking gun evidence. The best part of that happened with this whole thing is all the Pete Rose videos, right? Pete Rose literally came out with a video where a guy interviewed him and he said, "I wish I'd have had an interpreter back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, like, I should have had an interpreter back then. That way Pete would have been able to be in the Hall of Fame and continue playing or managing or whatever. I'm not sold on he bet on baseball. Okay, we don't have any evidence that he did. But this is interesting because right now he's saying, Tommy, that his BFF, his buddy, his translator, stole the money. So if he stole the money, that means, hey, FBI, hey, police, I'm going to cooperate with you. I am going to be an open book. I'm going to, I want I want this guy arrested. I want him to pay back anything he can. I want him put in jail, prosecuted to the full extent of the law. If he stole, then that's what you have to do. Anything short of that leaves you open to speculation for all of us to question, did he really steal? Because if you're not going to do anything about it, sounds like you're taking care of your boy.
Take care of your boy, and I'm sure somehow they've gotten word to him that says, "Look, you got to take the fall here. Ohtani didn't do anything wrong," because they had a quote from the illegal bookmaker who was under investigation in California, and he said that he was bragging to people how Ohtani was a big client of his, but he said he had never met Ohtani. He'd never talked to Ohtani, anything like that. Now, the interpreter, when they had to transfer the $500,000, you had to put a reason for the loan. Kind of like if I Venmo you, I put, baseballs or equipment or boxes, whatever. And the bookie told the interpreter, just put loan, LOAN, on there, because it made it look like Ohtani loaned the guy this money. But Ohtani clearly stated the money was stolen from him. So, I mean, 2 and 2 is not 4. Major League Baseball is backed in a corner about this thing, and I don't know if and when it'll go away. And then the whole other thing that I read, if Ohtani's done something wrong, is that going to affect his on the field play? Okay, if all of a sudden he starts hitting 220, is the mental part of it got him fried? I don't know, and it's going to be a story that's not going to go away for a while.
Well, what's interesting is he went from being a beloved figure, the face of Major League Baseball. Nobody hates the Angels, right? Like, so when he played for the Angels are just indifferent. Nobody really cares about the Angels. They come to your town. You don't boo the Angels. You just cheer for your team, right? But now he's with the Dodgers. And there are teams and cities that hate the Dodgers, right? Because they're one of the blue bloods and they've always won too much and all that. So, and they got all the money to buy the players. So the Dodgers are already the villain for a lot of cities anyway. Now you throw in this gambling thing. So now Otani's going to be going to cities getting booed and yelled and jeered and signs held up. And people, it's going to be, he's not, he doesn't know what's about to happen. So I agree with you, Tommy. It's going to affect his play. There's no way it can't. He's going to go from being cheered and beloved to being booed. And then he's got this stress of everything that's hanging over his head. And is he telling the truth or not telling the truth? He didn't take any questions. He simply read a prepared statement. This is a giant story. This is the equivalent of Michael Jordan stepping away from basketball. Maybe not as big as that. That was bigger. But Michael Jordan stepping away from basketball at the prime of his career and basically sitting out a year and a half. That's what this is like.
I don't believe Otani. I believe there's a lot more to this story than what he put in his statement. Exactly what, I don't know. I got to let it play out. But I think, as I've scoured through social media after this thing, and I read a lot of national writers and all that, not many people are believing that he was truthful in that statement. And there's so many unanswered questions, about this stuff. And maybe it comes out one day, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But baseball is boxed in a box. They've been backed into the corner, no question.
There's so many questions to this story. There's so many angles. Like, did the interpreter have an NDA, right? Did he have an NDA? Is he in violation of the NDA if he's now talking about it like, no, Otani told me this and da 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 da. Even though he's in essence protecting himself. If I'm the interpreter and I didn't take the money, wouldn't I hold my own press conference and say, I am disappointed that my brother, who I love dearly, and I was willing to do a lot for and keep my mouth shut, take a bullet for him to a certain degree if needed. But now my question's coming into character. I might be facing potential jail time at some point no, I did not steal that money. That dude bet on baseball. I was the front, or bet on sports. I was the front. I would handle the bets between the bookie and him. Like if I was the interpreter, I would be straight and center fixing the record now.
Absolutely, Ronnie, because keep in mind, after this story broke, the interpreter, Hippie is his name, he talked for 90 minutes with ESPN. Okay, you and I show 25, 30 minutes. Imagine 3 times as long. And in that, he said Otani loaned him the money. Otani knew he had a gambling problem. And then Otani's got a totally different story. That's why people, the whole thing changed, and that's what people don't like. It's unfortunate for baseball. And again, I don't know where it's going to go. I hate to speculate, but 2 and 2 is not 4 as we sit here today. And a couple of other things, Ronnie. I mean, he had the NBA player suspected of tinkering with prop bets, not a marquee name guy, Porter's brother. Dan Patrick made the statement. We are headed into a major problem with this gambling, which, we can all make. I bet on the Thunder last night on my phone. Won the bet. Some sport, there's going to be some bigger than Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref that was giving information and being paid, some of the college point shaving thing. He thinks that we are staring at. We don't know when and where it's coming from. Some major thing due to the gambling. It's but it's.
Well, look, LSU had Boutte, had 6 figures worth of gambling while he's playing wide receiver at LSU in 2022. I mean, that that hasn't, we haven't seen the end of that situation. We just know that, what's going to be the fallout? What's going to be the fallout for LSU because of it? What's going to be the fallout for him potentially? But Boutte was a guy who was expected to be a potential first-round draft pick who wasn't at all, and his career and everything has not gone the way it has. How much of that was the stress of gambling? How much was that the NIL money and everything that he was making and able to spend this money and this distraction and go down that rabbit hole of gambling? I mean, there's plenty of examples of college students getting addicted to gambling in the old ways with a bookie, and they find themselves, 10 grand in the hole, and they don't have, $500 to their name. And what are they going to do? And dad's got to bail them out. Like that's small potatoes compared to what Boutte went through, and how he was a shell of himself, and how he was a terrible teammate because of the stress of the gambling. And we saw him throwing a temper tantrum and going crazy on the sidelines against Florida State. Now we know why. It makes all the sense in the world. Did his teammates know? How much did they know? Not know. I mean, and I agree with Dan Patrick. The ease of which that you can bet on sports, and the majority of the states on a million apps, is there's going to be more and more stories where it affects the outcome of games, or someone tries to do something nefarious, or just very simply, quarterback at XYZ school in the SEC has a gambling problem and gets themselves in financial trouble because they're betting on games, and maybe they're not as focused or not as paying attention to their own job or their own school because they're worried about everybody else, all the other games. I mean, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. Now, that said, I still think you got to let people be people. You got to let adults be adults, and you should be able to bet on sports. You can, just like you can buy lottery tickets, you should be able to go buy a lottery ticket in essence and bet on a basketball game. But what can the NCAA do? What can the government do to potentially regulate or limit or something gambling in sports, especially for the athletes involved? I don't know. I don't know if there's I don't know what they can do. I'm not smart enough to figure that part out.
It's a tangled web.
Let's talk a little LSU baseball, Tommy. You were there at the game last night. LSU wins 8-4 over your Southeastern Lions. What was your takeaway from the game?
I was impressed with Micah Bucknam. He was a short snapshot, but he threw a lot of strikes. I thought he looked good. Kid from Canada. LSU hit the ball, left 11 guys on base. I keep bringing that up, but you leave guys on base. Obviously, I overcame it one last night, but 11 guys is too many to leave on base. Southeastern's been playing good baseball since they let the game against LSU get away in Hammond a few weeks ago, and I think Bobby Barbier is going to do a good job with that program. But Salvaggio, their big shortstop, they had a big game. By the way, his grandfather is a former Southeastern player, Kevin Smoke Fogg, one of the Southeastern Baseball Hall of Famers. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun last night at the game. Good turnout, good weather, and it was good to be there. Ronnie had a lot of people talking about the Rougarou jacket I had on. Like, I'm coming in the gate, and people are like, man, what's that jacket for? I mean, I was like, not one or two comments. I'm like 6 or 7 comments loving the jacket. When I was in the Champions Club, to buy a beer, they're like, man, wait, that jacket is so cool, So it was good.
BR.com, BR Rougarou.
Yeah, I said, and then I got people they're going to come to the game. I'm like, we can make that happen. You got to do that. Rougarou starts, but May 30th. Yeah, May 30th.
The Micah Bucknam, who you mentioned, the Canadian, the right-hander, last 2 outings has looked really sharp. I mean, LSU still has a battle royale going on in that bullpen, because outside of Gage Jump and Holman in the starting rotation, outside of Ackenhouse and Guidry on the back end, they kind of at this moment sort of have those roles. But everybody else is wide open. I mean, everything else is open. Who's going to be where, what, when. I mean, is Hurd going to be able to hang on to the third spot? He has an 11-something ERA in SEC play. Is there another option? What? And so I think you've got a lot of battles still going on for that bullpen. Bucknam's a guy who he went an inning and 2/3 last week against Louisiana Tech on 9 pitches, Tommy. He went 1 2/3 innings, had a strikeout on 9 pitches. I don't even know if that's possible. But anyway, and then he looked good last night. Obviously, Cam Johnson's making progress. He faced 3 batters, got all 3 batters out, didn't walk anybody. Was throwing the slider for strikes. That's huge progress. Moffitt, even though he gave up the home run, Moffitt gave up a home run on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He looked good. He was throwing the ball in the mid 90s, and he was getting that breaking ball over. So I can see those guys, Johnson and Moffitt, who are the future of LSU's bullpen, taking steps forward. And if they can figure it out, let's say they get another 2-3 midweek outings like that in a row, and now they put 3-4 together, and their confidence is rolling. By the time you get to May, that back end could be pretty good. You could be pretty darn good on the back end.
And May will be important, like it was last year. You remember LSU struggled a couple of weeks in May last year, and then got hot and they win it all. So, we'll see. But hey, Arkansas is the number 1 team in the country. They love their baseball up in Fayetteville. They got a tremendous ballpark, big time fans, just like LSU has big time fans. Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. For those of you who might not notice that yet, SEC doesn't play on Easter Sunday, so that teams can be home. So all the games will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend in the SEC. A full slate, and can't wait to see it. On top of the fact that Major League Baseball starts tomorrow, so my Rangers are hosting the Cubs tomorrow evening. I'll be all over that game tomorrow evening. So it's baseball everywhere right now. We got to mention the major change in the NFL. The kickoff is going to be totally different. You see all that stuff yet, Ronnie? I know you've been busy.
Give us the rundown of the rule change.
Oh man, there's no more onside kicks unless you declare that you're going to try an onside kick. Because the way they're going to do it now is that the kicker's going to kick off from the 30. His teammates are going to be at the opponent's 40. I got a grid I can text you. And then the other team will be 10 yards away from them, except for 2 guys in the landing zone between the 20 and the goal line. Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, a lot of the coaches like this new rules. It's going to bring special teams more importance, and you're going to have more run backs. And the thing, they're just trying to avoid the collisions. But all right, of the last 15 surprise onside kicks, I don't mean when you're down 9 and a minute to go and everybody in the building knows you can onside kick. Of the last 15 surprise onside kicks, only 2 of them work. So it's going to be a significant change to the game of football. And when you see, I got a grid I'll send you. It almost looks like XFL or arena football. It's a big difference.
All right, so let me make understand. So you kick off from the 30. Your 10 other guys are going to be on the other side of the 50, the plus 50 at the 40-yard line. And then the team returning the kick is going to be at the 30-yard line with their 9 guys. Then they'll have 2 guys that are within inside the 20 returning the kick.
Exactly.
You still have the fair catch? That's still available?
No, fair catch is over. Now, here's the other thing. There's only 3 people that can move until the ball is touched. The kicker can obviously move. The 2 guys in the landing zone can move, left or right or up or back. But until that ball is touched by one of the guys in the landing zone, nobody else can move.
Okay, that's significant. Okay, so there's nobody can run until the ball is caught or it's a penalty of some sort.
Correct.
Okay. Well, no, I love this because I hated the idea that the kickoff was going to be insignificant and we would never see returns and everybody would just fair catch. And the kickoff specialist doesn't have a job now and all that kind of stuff. This is great because I agree. You basically got, one line of defense and then it's, and then it's, you can possibly bust it. I think you're going to see a lot more long touchdowns now.
I think you will. It'd be interesting. And they put this in for 1 year. It was voted in for the upcoming season, and then they'll evaluate going forward whether it becomes permanent or if they have to tweak it a little bit. But those of you NFL gurus out there, read up on it. It's pretty detailed about the do's and don'ts of this new kickoff rule, including the onside kick situation. I mean, it's going to create a lot of conversation.
So here's my question about the onside kick. You have to declare the onside kick. Are you able to? What are the rules of the onside kick? Are you able to? Do you still have to have 5 guys on one side of the ball, 5 guys on the other? Because if it's the same way it is now, they're never going to recover an onside kick. It's going to be
you would go back to the traditional way of kicking off. You say, okay, we're going to try an onside kick. Okay, then you line. It'll look just like an onside kick looked last year, but you can only do 2 per game. You can only do 2 per game.
2 onside kicks per game.
Right.
But so to make sure we're clear, there's 5 on the left side of the ball and there's 5 people on the right side of the ball. That's it. You can't put all 10 guys on one side, run 10 yards, and try to go get the ball. It's basically 5 and 5.
Correct.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, and then you got to declare it so they know it's coming. It's going to be less than 10% that anybody's ever going to recover an onside kick.
Yeah.
So I hate that. It's like basically if you're down, there's no benefit to the onside kick. I mean, you're going to see one of them every once in a blue moon if it's like 30 seconds left in the game, and that's all you can do. I actually like the other rules of some of the other leagues where they, if you're down a certain amount of time, you can try to go for it. And I don't know. I think they should get creative as opposed to with the onside or consider some alternate options. But this is a good step forward on the kickoff. I'm excited about it. It's going to make the kickoff way more exciting. It's going to be less, if they do return a kick, there's going to be opportunities for returns. I really like it. All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here.
Well, Easter weekend, huge crawfish time, ball crawfish, live crawfish. Get your orders in now. The number's on your screen. They're not going to have an unlimited supply. So get your orders in for ball crawfish, live crawfish. Come get lasagna for lunch today. Get some wine and some bourbon and tequila, whatever you want. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. All the crawfish information is there, but you must get your orders in now. Don't wait till Thursday evening or Friday. They may not be able to fulfill your order, but if you place an order, they'll guarantee that you're going to get it. So Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. You want to check them out real soon. All right, as we do always, like and share this video. Ronnie and I appreciate that. All the partners, all the sponsors, all the marketing. Like and share this video with all your friends. We'll be back Friday morning for another edition of Sports Shorts Daily. I'm Tommy Price, and have a good evening, a good day, everyone.